Okay. So he's deaf and he is excited dominant as well. So what that basically means, when he gets excited, he gets really pushy. So he might taz out, you know, start running around, jump on people, get kind of mouthy, grab clothes, stuff like that. It's nothing really aggressive. Um, he also gets very excited when it comes to dogs, so he's the same way with dogs. Comes in real hot, and the same way when he meets new people. So we introduced someone. It took him, I don't know, I'd say probably a half hour in all to calm down and like start acting normal around her. But then he was looking to repeat the pattern, and so after she met at the fence, came in, and then went back out, met at the fence again, came in, and he started looking to repeat the pattern. Like when he saw my neighbors, he he's going over to the fence and looking at them, and then looking up. I have a treat bucket on the fence, and so he's waiting for somebody else to come along. So it's good, you know. And I think each time it should get a little bit easier. So basically, yeah, he's deaf, so there's that, right? He has to learn all the commands in a different way, and he's got that Taz thing, that excited dominance. So he's about to go. There he goes. Yep. So he gets the zoomies. He gets crazy. He kept trying to dig, and every time I told him no, he'd start getting cuckoo. And then jumping on me, I grabbed the leash. He started to get a little chompy. These are more like warning bites, you know. But to a dog, they have thicker skin and won't do any damage. But to a person, we don't have that thick skin, so it'll cause some minor damage. These are just warnings, but still unacceptable. You know, he gets going crazy, tazzing out. Let's see what he does. See if we can grab it. There we go. Grab the leash. Yeah, he's definitely not as bad. He went a little crazy yesterday. And then once I got the collar on him, when I gave him a correction, he immediately stopped. Huh. And then sometimes if you give them affection or attention, it causes excitement and they'll go crazy too. It's hard enough to do one or the other, but then twice as hard, because sometimes he's not always paying attention. You got to get his attention, you know. It's not like you could just say, hey, you know, or call his name or something. You know, he doesn't even have any idea what his name is. But as far as like, you know, teaching him because of the deaf side, so there's a few options that you can kind of use, you know, to your advantage, or to communicate. So one is touch. So any kind of petting as a reward, any kind of physical touch to get his attention, and then also pressure. So like I just push down on his butt to get him to sit. Leash pressure, if I gotta like pull to get him to walk, or I just give him little acknowledgement, little tweak, just to let him know, hey, we have to stop. Or if he doesn't sit, I can just kind of give him a little correction and remind him. And then there's visual, right? So visual is sign language and body language. So some of it's going to be spatial pressure. So he'll sit for the sign for sit. He'll also sit for the spatial pressure when I come in and I say, hey, you know, I'm challenging you for authority. So he sits. And then there's various other signs, like this is place. Down has been hard for him because he's going down with a lure and he's not really associating the signal with the lure, and you can't do it at the same time because he's more focused on the food and he's not picking up the signal. I think over time he'll get it, and I suppose it doesn't matter all that much. It's not the worst thing in the world, but he will at least go down with a lure. Stay, that's an obvious one. No is typically like this. I have a snap habit, which I usually do when I say no, and it looks very similar, so that's what I use. Um, and for also for feel is the e-collar, right? So if I need to get his attention, if he's over there and he's not looking and I want him to look, I hit the vibrate. That means pay attention to me or come. I'll take either one. If he turns and he doesn't come, then if I hit the red button, that means like continue the task. So if he pays attention to me, I'll pat right here to get him to come. If he's not paying attention, I push the red button, and then when he starts coming, I disengage the button. The black button means no, right? The vibration button means to come or to pay attention. And then the red button means complete the task that I gave you. So for instance, if I tell him place and he's not going in place, I push the red button, and then when he gets on place, I shut it off. And if he doesn't come, I push the red button. When he starts on his way to me, then it shuts off. And that's probably one of the most important things, is to get him a good recall, because he is deaf, right? And you have to sometimes communicate with a dog that's far away, and you can't yell. You can't yell his name, or you can't call him to come. So the only way to get to him is to get his attention and then get him to come with the e-collar. Otherwise, you have to run over there, tap him on the butt or whatever to get his attention, right? Or grab a leash or something. But in some scenarios, rabbit, car crossing the road, something like that, you want him to come away from the road, you need to communicate quickly. And all that stuff he's picked up on really good, and he's learning how to calm down, like when he's in place. It's to help, when he goes in there for a long term, it's to help him learn how to calm down. So I think just a little while ago, I didn't look directly at him, he had his chin down. So when he's in there and he completely like relaxes or gives up on the idea of getting out, then I let him out. He even did pretty good when the person was in the yard at staying in place. I had to put him back the first time once, and then that was it. Other than that, as excited as he was, he stayed there. Then when he was calm and he let him out, he was a lot better. So that's what I'm talking about. So to break him or to get him to move forward, like into his crate, I just kind of invite him to kind of move forward, or tell him to move forward. Stop is, like if I'm walking on a leash, I'll do that, like that. And then if he's like behind me, it's like this. Pretty much, close to stay. I do typically use a prong, because these little communications like this are a lot easier. If I change direction and he's not following, I push that red button. That means complete the task. So follow me in this direction now. Right. Follow me in this direction. Good. Stop. Thumbs up means good or yes. And so another way to get through to him is with food, obviously. Any kind of reward. He likes balls. That means drop. He's okay with it. Like, I think he's starting to get it, but so if you have a food reward, you're gonna give him a food reward. I always let him know this before he gets the reward. And so if I do this and I have no food, then I'll pat him. Here. Good. Sit. Good. and I do speak to him. Stay. I do speak even though he can't hear, because I want him to tune into the typical facial expressions that I use with all the dogs. Good, and I usually like a smile, let them know that I'm proud of what they just did, or if I'm serious. No, I want them to pick up on also my facial expressions. I'm waiting to see if he's going to try to get out. Good decision. Whoa. He's not looking. But at any time I can go pay him, I could go give him food, or I could go give him a pet, And then when I really need to calm him, I just come over here and just kind of massage him. And sometimes he could get really sleepy, and that's when I let him out. Oh, that's good. It's funny because as rough as he could be, he's not really rough, mouthy, or anything with me. But as rough as he could be, he's so super gentle sometimes. Like if you go to give him food, you put your fingers in his mouth, and you will not feel teeth. He very much, all you feel is lips. All right, Pup. Very gentle. Pup, come. Come. Good. Good. So even though if I don't give him thumbs up, this is still rewarding, so I can still say good boy just by petting him. I like to especially do that when they have a breakthrough moment and they figured something out that I've been trying to teach them. They have that breakthrough and they figured it out, and I let them know, really reward them, and then see if they repeat it the next time. And if they repeat it the next time, I do it again, Oh, what a good boy. You got a little something to keep you busy, huh? You think if there's any other real commands, it's mostly just, like on walks, there's not a whole lot of sign language commands that I use. It's mostly leash communication. So I'll tap him like this to let him know to stop. I'll tap him, or I'll give him an annoying correction. So I do this if he's in front, and I pull him back, and then I stop when he's in the right position. Or I can pretty much do the same thing with the e-collar. I just hold the red button down, I pull him back. When he's in the right position, I let go. He pretty much listens to mostly the e-collar. But the extra bit of communication, like for stop, I don't have another button for that, you know what I mean? And I don't want to confuse them. I can't have the same button mean 17 different things. But while he's walking, that's what that means. It means to complete that task, I'm telling you to come back into place, to heel. Typically I don't use the e-collar when they're in place, so I'm not going to use the correction unless he goes to step out, but I will use the vibration to calm the calm. Good. So normally if he didn't come, I would have used the red button, but I want him to know that as long as he's in place, that he's not going to feel that. It's just when he tries to get out, he'll feel that. Good. Now we'll see if he'll wander about when he's not paying attention. We'll do some recall. He's generally pretty good at it. And I really haven't had an issue where if he didn't respond to the vibration and I followed through with continuous, I haven't had an issue where he didn't listen. The only time, and it wasn't to call him off, it was more to tell him no, that he's not responsive, is when he gets over the top. He may need a big collar, you know, he may need a more powerful collar to get through him in those times when he's super excited. But like I said, you got two issues that you're dealing with. Is one is that kind of that excited dominance, and then the other is that he's deaf, right? Either one of them is enough of a hassle on its own, but now they're combined. Really good about going in his crate, the same thing. I just kind of gesture to go in, and then if he goes in without giving me a hard time, he gets a treat every time. And so typically he just goes straight in without being told. So that's a plus. He'll stay, he'll settle in his crate if he, you know, if he's a little bit anxious or something like that. You give him one little quick correction, and you kind of tell him, you know, relax. If he's like up on the thing and I go like this, slowly down, then he'll take his paws off and sit down. Same thing if he's on the fence. If he's like jumps on the fence and I go like that, he'll take his paws off and bring them down. Look, I just point to my eyes, or I can do this and just wait for him to look, and then when he looks I gotta mark it like that and give him food. Oh, you're gonna have it in your place? Let's see if he'll do drop. Wait till he picks it up. Like when he likes to play fetch.
Yes. Oh boy, not that you can hear me.
He brings it back probably 50% of the time. And it's like once you throw it, you got to kind of come down like this and wait for him to see you, because sometimes if you give him the vibration, he'll drop the ball and come to you, and then you got to go get the ball. Sometimes he'll even go back to get it, but not all the time. And then he's probably good for like a dozen throws, and then he's kind of like, he moves on, so he'll just either walk away or... I've done 2 balls, and that works pretty good, but still sometimes he'll drop the ball over there, come, and then you end up having to go back over there anyway. But it does tire him out. He's like, surprisingly, I would say medium energy, or at least like his endurance isn't that high. So like I said, 12 throws and he's like, okay, I'm good, and that kind of tires him out. And he's a way much better dog. Like you could see a real difference after a dozen throws in his demeanor. Then, you know, like it's pretty obvious. Makes a huge difference. And so some days, especially when, you know, he'll do some training, he'll do some fetch, and then like when she came over yesterday, so there was an hour also of that, you know what I mean? And by the end of that, he was like poof. And he's just a really sweet, mellow dog when he's tired. But that's him. He's not for everybody, you know what I mean? Like if you're interested And a dog like this, like I said, one, he's deaf, and two, he needs a pretty firm hand at times, you know. So you can't really baby him, you know. You can't feel bad about it. He doesn't seem to like be, you know, weird at all about it, about any of the e-collar or any corrections whatsoever. Um, but that, like, he needs that for life. That's the rest of his life. So you're kind of always using training techniques just for normal stuff with him, just for normal life. So there's that, and then there's the Taz part, you know what I mean? So you have to be able to handle him. Is, you know, even if he was a dog that could hear, you have to be able to handle that type of dog, you know what I mean? That type of dog is not for everybody. Once he knows you, once he lives in your house, he's not going to do it to you, you know what I mean? He's only going to do it to new people that come over. And that's Ghost.